are you forming your team? How are you putting your team together?
Yeah, so we're just kind of in the early stages of it right now. But I've been in business brokerage, like I said, since 2014, just recently rolled into EXP commercial. So, the first phase for me is pretty easy. And, there's a lot of people I already know that kind of know what I do. So I'm starting to pull some of those people in, but, I'm finding too, even just like within my EXP commercial academy, people that are first coming into EXP, they're wide open as far as I don't know exactly what I want to do yet. And so a lot of them were asking me questions about business brokerage. One of them did end up deciding to be a mentee and will be on my team as well. And then once we get, I'm still in the process, and this is one of my unknowns here, maybe Tanya and Doug, I'm still a little bit fuzzy on what the exact rules are for recruiting across state boundaries and what we can say and what we cannot say for the recruiting. So my question would be, where do we get that information? But there's a lot of people to have conversations with and recruit. So really, I'm just telling people about what I'm doing, that we're going to build a big initiative, and I'm finding it's pretty easy to gain interest right now. What one thing connects to another, and I have a pretty big network with the different things that I've done. I have other entrepreneurial interests that I've done as well. So a lot of those things, connect me to people, and I don't know, it's just, there's a lot of interest in, I'd say almost fascination behind, doing this sort of thing. Because, some people on this call may not know that, how underserved the business brokerage industry really is compared to, residential real estate, certainly, and even traditional commercial real estate. So I think once we can have conversations about the opportunity, the recruiting part's not that bad.
Well, I'll say this. The first thing that I ask anybody that wants me to mentor them is they take some of the IBBA courses, particularly the valuing, I think it's called Valuing Small Businesses and Small Business Accounting. Because
they actually require 3 courses now in the new mentee agreements.
Yes.
But they don't require those 3, I don't think. I think it's like legal. The 3 that they require, personally, I mean, I need somebody to understand the financials, because I can guide them through recasting a P&L, or guide them through that process, but I'm not going to teach them accounting, and I just don't have the bandwidth to do that. And this is one of the things in Florida, you say in Florida you are required to have a real estate license to practice business brokerage, but every residential realtor says, yeah, I'm a business broker. And so you see things like, well, on Biz Buy Sell, where they'll list the financials, and they have the revenues is the same number as the EBITDA, and it's like, so they don't
right.
They don't know what they're doing. And it's scary, because they're, again, in the situation, you've got somebody that probably has a good relationship with their client. Maybe they sold them a home and they own a business, and then they said, hey, can you sell my business? Oh, sure, I can. And then you get into those situations where, again, you're doing all the work, because everything they did, you have to kind of undo. And so there is not a lot of structure around business brokerage.
Correct. And I was disappointed, Doug, too, when I went through the commercial academy to find that there was nothing at all addressed about business brokerage. I kind of expected that, since this is technically, it's one of the legs of EXP commercial, right? You'd think that it would at least be acknowledged, but we're so underdeveloped in business brokerage right now. That's not even part of the conversation. And I know that's going to change. There's a lot of conversations going on. There's some big initiatives going on. But one thing that I've had to do now, Doug, to address that, and I planned on doing this the whole time, I've created my own training curriculum for the members of my team. So right now I have a 3-day course that I put them through, and eventually I'm not going to be the guy doing all of those, because I know that is time intensive. But to start with, until I get a trainer in place for my team, I am doing those sessions, for the mentees and for my team members, to give them the basics. And then, of course, we all know that, a few hours of recasting isn't going to be enough to really get them to where they need to be.
Yeah,
But it at
no,
least gives them a foundation, better
yeah.
than they're gonna start with otherwise.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I would say, yeah, that gives, I would say anybody that's on the call that's asking these questions about wanting to get in business brokerage, if you're serious about it, go to the IBBA website. And I don't know if you have, and I'm sorry if I pronounced your name correctly. Is it Tanya?
Yes.
Tanya.
Yeah,
Okay.
Tanya.
I'm sorry. I didn't want to,
No worries.
but I don't know if California, because I know California has a different designation, right? Isn't it CBB something?
CBB.
CDB,
Yeah,
yeah.
and so the CBB is similar to the CBI. It requires the California specific courses and then a certain number of transactions, and it has to be maintained. But most of us that are in California that are, we're CBIs anyways. If we've gone through that process and gotten a
Mhm.
CBI requires more education.
Mhm.
The, I would say yes, so IBBA has an educational summit that they give 4 times a year that is on recasting and pricing businesses. I believe that's
Mhm.
IBBA 210, 220, and 221.
Mhm.
And so they give that course 4 times a year, or that summit 4 times a year. And that's where it's really focused on recasting. It does
Is
a
that
much
still
better
required
job.
to be live? Because it used to be live, but I think during COVID, it might have gone virtual.
Yeah, it's live. It's live online. So it is live instructor, but it is online. So they have IBBA has education set up either as online on demand or online live.
Mhm.
And then they have some courses that I guess they will give live at conference, so in-person live.
Mhm.
But the summit, the educational summits currently are online live.
Mhm.
So 4 times a year, and it's 32 hours, I think, of training,
Yeah.
focused pretty much on recasting, valuing businesses, pricing businesses, and, highly recommend it for people who are serious. In terms of what you were saying about, I try and always explain to people that commercial is not business, business is not commercial. If you want to think about a 3-legged stool, you've got residential, commercial, and business. They're all different. And the
Mhm.
other thing that I try and explain to people is that if you're driving down the street, as you drive past a strip mall or an office building, it's the commercial agent that's going to sell the building. But the 6 or 8 or 10 or 50 businesses that are operating in that building, it's the business broker that's actually going to sell those.
Mhm.
So strip mall, you might have flower shop, cigar shop, auto repair, your Main Street retail, right?
Mhm.
Office building, you might have property management company, tax and accounting firms, and whatever else, professional law firms. So it's your business broker that's going to sell those, as opposed to your commercial agent is going to sell the building.
Mhm.
And usually that helps people to understand that yes, there is a difference.